Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are cracking open the U.S. Army's playbook for fighting and winning on the ground, Field Manual 390, Tactics. We're going to get into the core thinking that drives how battles are planned, shaped, and won. And what you're going to find out is that the most critical part of the fight, well, it usually happens long before the first shot is ever fired. You know, whenever we think about a big battle, our minds jump to the main event, right? The big clash. But what if I told you that the winner was pretty much decided before any of that even started? See, there's this invisible war constantly happening underneath the surface, a fight for information, for position, for the upper hand. And the real question is, who's winning that fight? The answer, and this is the key, isn't just about who has the fanciest gear or the biggest army. It comes down to the painstaking, deliberate, and frankly brilliant work done behind the scenes to set the conditions for victory. It's all about the art of preparation, of molding the battlefield to your advantage before the enemy even realizes what's hit them. And this art isn't just some vague concept. It has a name, a structure. It's called doctrine. And for the Army, it's captured right here in FM 390. This is the foundational text, the playbook that turns high-level strategy into actual, concrete moves on the ground. So, let's get on the same page. What are we even talking about when we say tactics? The official definition is the employment, ordered arrangement, and directed actions of forces in relation to each other. But in plain English, it's the art and science of moving your pieces on the chessboard to get an advantage. It's not just about the fighting, it's about arranging the entire board so that when the fight happens, you're already in a winning position. Now, FM 390 breaks all of this down into three big buckets. First, you've got your offensive operations, taking the fight to the enemy. Then, you have defensive operations, which is all about stopping an enemy's attack. Pretty standard stuff. But then, there's this crucial third category. And honestly, this is the secret sauce that makes the other two work. And here they are, enabling operations. The manual calls them the essential actions that set the friendly conditions required for mission accomplishment. Think of these guys as the architects and the construction crew of the battlefield. They're not the main show, but they build the entire stage. This right here is that invisible fight we were talking about at the beginning. And once you look at this list, it is comprehensive. There are 9 of them, and they cover absolutely everything. You've got intelligence gathering with reconnaissance and protecting your own forces with security operations. You're literally shaping the physical terrain with mobility and counter-mobility. You're even playing mind games with tactical deception. Every single one is a tool in the toolbox designed to rig the game in your favor. We're not going to hit all 9 today, but we'll dig into a few key ones to see how this all comes together. So how does this actually work? How do you use these operations to take control of a situation? The whole point is to proactively shape the battlefield, to create a scenario where your success becomes almost a foregone conclusion. And where does it all begin? Step 1, the absolute bedrock for everything else, is achieving information dominance. It's actually pretty simple. If you know what the enemy is doing and they don't know what you're doing, you've already got a massive, massive leg up. This is the world of reconnaissance and security ops. I love this analogy because it just makes perfect sense. Think about it. The quarterback steps up to the line. What's he do? He reads the defense. That's reconnaissance, seeing their formation, spotting the blitz. And security? That's his offensive line, giving him the time and space to make the right call and protecting him from surprises. What you know, and when you know it, changes the entire outcome of the play. Okay, so you have the information. Now you can start messing with the enemy's head using a really powerful tool, tactical deception. 2 classic examples are the feint and the demonstration. A feint is like a boxer's jab, a quick, limited attack to make your opponent react and commit his forces to the wrong spot. A demonstration, on the other hand, is all show. You make a ton of noise over here to draw their eyes while your real effort is happening quietly over there. It's all about making the enemy dance to a tune that you wrote. All right, so you've won the info war, and you've got the enemy totally confused. Great, but there's a problem. They've built a wall, minefields, barriers, obstacles, right where you need to go. You can't go around it, you've got to go through it. You have to create your own path. And this is where mobility comes in. Now, creating a path isn't just about blowing a hole in something. It is a highly synchronized 5-step ballet of violence called a breach. First, you suppress the enemy with overwhelming fire so they can't shoot back. Then you obscure the area with smoke so they can't see you. You secure a foothold on both sides. Then, and only then, you reduce the obstacle, clearing a path. Finally, you assault, pouring your forces through that brand new lane. Every step has to be timed to the second. It's a perfect example of just how detailed this planning has to be. And this basketball analogy just nails it. Mobility, like that breach we just talked about, is your offense. It's about getting to the hoop. But what's the flip side? Counter mobility. That's your defense. That's you putting up your own obstacles to channel the enemy, forcing them away from where they want to go, and funneling them right into your strongest defenders. You are literally dictating the flow of the game. So you step back and you look at all of this, the intel gathering, the deception, the shaping of the physical ground. What does it all add up to? Well, it all leads to one thing, and one thing only: gaining that decisive edge right when it counts. And if you take one thing away from this explainer, let it be this: enabling operations are not side quests. They're not nice-to-haves that you do if you have extra time. They are the absolute foundation of victory. They are completely, totally, 100% inseparable from success. A big win on the battlefield is almost always just the payoff from a series of perfectly executed enabling ops. So here's that payoff broken down. First, these operations shape the fight, letting you control the narrative through information and deception. Second, they protect your force, keeping them safe and preserving their strength for the main event. And finally, they position your forces at the perfect place and the perfect time to land that winning blow. It's the setup that guarantees the knockout punch. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If a tactical victory is so often decided by the preparation, by all this invisible work, what does that tell us about strategy as a whole? Maybe it suggests that success in just about anything we do is less about that one final dramatic moment and more about all the quiet, deliberate work we put in to set the conditions for that success to happen.